What role has the consumer played in all of this new consciousness that people have about buying products that are made with slave labor?
I think that consumer consciousness has really brought a lot of results, a lot of positive results. Our focus has been on trying to ensure that governments and private actors are not contributing to this system. That means that the companies that have taken a pledge not to knowingly use Uzbek cotton in their supply chains have taken really positive steps forward, and they should go further and ensure that they're really monitoring that the Uzbek cotton is not appearing anywhere along the supply chain, and that if there are human rights violations that they're somehow contributing to, that they are monitoring that on the ground, doing whatever they can to avoid contributing to this very abusive, repressive system in Uzbekistan.
You went to Uzbekistan. You weren't there very long. Human Rights Watch, for a little bit, had an office there in Tashkent. What happened?
Well, we actually had an office over 15 years, but the situation in Uzbekistan has always been a really difficult human rights situation, which became even more atrocious after 2005, when there was a major massacre that occurred in Uzbekistan. Government forces shot and killed hundreds of mostly peaceful protesters in 2005 in a city called Andijan. And after 2005, the government really repressed civil society even more than it had before, kicking out reporters, international organizations, and it's become increasingly difficult for organizations such as ours, and more so for local activists, to do this work, to document and witness abuses. I think it's very important that Washington and Brussels and Berlin and all the Western nations that are working with Uzbekistan pressure the government to live up to its commitments under international law and protect human rights.
You know, the government of Uzbekistan says it's phasing out cotton. It's no longer as an important a crop, that this is a Soviet-era legacy that will eventually fade. But what can you tell people? I mean, the youngsters in Uzbekistan are told this is the white gold of Uzbekistan. It's their national duty to go out there in the fields. But what's the reality of what they have to do?
Well, it is very true that picking cotton, it's called hashar. It's a national duty. It's a cultural norm. It's something that farmers and families take a lot of pride in. It is a source of national pride, and that's a great thing in Uzbek culture. But the issue is that one should never be forced to pick cotton. There should never be modern-day slavery. And so picking cotton is something that is very important to Uzbek culture, but forced labor is prohibited by international law. And so what needs to happen is, first of all, the Uzbek government needs to allow international observers into the country, into the fields, and they need to allow international organizations and local activists to also do their work of monitoring what's going on, and allow freedom of expression, allow people to express their views about what's actually happening there, and of course end the practice. That can be done in a dictatorship. That can be done by one man, the president of Uzbekistan. He has that power, and he can end the practice tomorrow.